Tonight on Newsbeat, Mardi Gras has come and gone, but it's not all beads and bourbon. We'll tell you about the fatal crash that left 2 dead over the weekend.
And later, sports brings you a play-by-play of LSU basketball's domination yesterday.
And finally, Clickbait makes a surprise appearance to bring your entertainment update.
All this and more, Newsbeat starts right now. Hello and welcome back to Newsbeat. I'm Rachel Handley.
And I'm Trey Cuvion. Thanks for joining us. We start our show tonight with breaking news as a man was arrested for allegedly raping a woman and holding her against her will on campus during the Mardi Gras break. Police say Jarrell Rogers, along with a group of people, including the victim, went to New Orleans to attend the parades on Monday. On the ride back to Baton Rouge, Rogers allegedly stopped his car near where the victim lives on campus, locking his doors and sexually assaulting her. Rogers reportedly dropped her off and then left the scene, but later sent several text messages allegedly harassing her. Rogers was charged with second-degree rape, false imprisonment, and telephone harassment.
And the Antonine Parade, one of the most popular events of Mardi Gras weekend, turned to tragedy this year in New Orleans.
2 people are dead and 6 are injured after a drunk driver plowed into a crowd of pedestrians Saturday night. The incident took place along 3 blocks of Esplanade Avenue near the parade route. The driver, who was arrested at the scene, was identified as 32-year-old Tashanti Tony, the son of a New Orleans police officer.
He's now facing several charges, including vehicular homicide, hit and run, and reckless operation. The victims have not been identified. This comes 2 years after a similar incident on the 2017 Antonine Parade route, where a drunk driver lost control of his pickup truck and slammed into a crowd, injuring 28 people.
Well, thankfully, this year's Mardi Gras got some Tiger Jazz. The LSU band performed in the Zulu Social Aid and Pleasure Club Parade Tuesday morning in New Orleans. The Queen of Zulu this year is Kaylin Rainey, a sophomore at LSU, and granddaughter of King Zulu, George Rainey. The Tiger Band performed in support of Queen Kaylin. The Zulu Parade is known for throwing their painted coconuts. It's also known for its members being predominantly African American, wearing grass skirts, feathery headdresses, and painted faces in the parade. And the mayor praised the Zulu Queen and the LSU band in her speech.
And Queen, we so enjoyed the LSU marching Tigers. And we understand that it was their first time ever in the Zulu Parade. Really? And what I said to the crowd before you arrived, that it is truly an example of the progress that we're making.
And this was the Golden Band's first time marching in the Zulu Parade. Well, one service at LSU is on the chopping block, and some students aren't happy.
Abigail Hendren is in studio with more.
Thanks, guys. Earlier this week, members of the LSU community received an email from Student Technology Services that said that LSU's Student Tech Fee Oversight Committee decided not to renew our subscription services to Lynda, effective immediately. Lynda is a popular website that provided tutorials on various Microsoft and Adobe products to students and staff. The decision affects many students in the Manship School of Mass Communication, who use the tutorials regularly to supplement their use of Adobe software required for courses and outside activities. LSU student body president sat down with us to discuss the committee's decision not to renew the subscription and how students can continue to access the service for free.
And in order to prioritize our budget, we did not put Lynda within the budget because it is a 3-year renewal when we do that. But we were aware that in order to access Lynda, you can go to the public library and get a public library card and access Lynda. So we just thought those students, instead of funding that out of a student fee, could find an access in the community, and that's community engagement as well, to still have that resource for free, because we definitely wanted the resources here.
Because there's free access to Lynda's services in the community, the committee will reallocate those funds toward a different student technology fee.
Well, Lynda isn't the only service looking to make improvements. The Baton Rouge Zoo is taking steps towards creating a master plan for future renovations. Margaret O'Rourke has the story.
The renovations extend to the adjacent Greenwood Park area. Robin Lott, the director of PR and marketing for the zoo, says these projects will reinvent the area.
And so we're wanting to sort of have these projects they're synergistic in a lot of ways, the park and the zoo being so close in proximity to one another.
Parks and Recreation in East Baton Rouge Parish held meetings and placed surveys online to get feedback from the public on renovations they want to see.
We're also looking into feedback from our staff. They are the ones who hear and see what the public is asking for on a regular basis. So those results are still pending. The survey is still closing out, so we'll have more information on that soon.
LSU Animal Science and Technology student Cameron Pelletier thinks renovating the zoo will bring more visitors and attract students like him to work there one day.
I hope, they get a more wider variety of animals to better suit what other people want and want to see in there, and to show more animals from all around the world.
The zoo will be renovated in various tiers.
It will never be 100% complete because in any business, you're always evolving, you're always upgrading.
Lott says the cost will vary depending on the area being renovated, and the time it takes to complete the project will be worth it, because even those that appreciate the nostalgia of the zoo are ready for a change.
So it's just time to take the 50-year-old facility and bring it to modern day zoo expectations.
This is Margaret O'Rourke for Tiger TV.
Officials say it could take 20 years to renovate the zoo completely.
And the Baton Rouge Companion Animal Alliance is under fire this week after PETA condemned them for seeking a license to sell live animals for research purposes. In formal complaints with the USDA and the National Institute of Health, the animal rights group pleads for the license to be blocked and funding to be cut to LSU. Earlier this year, CAA had illegally sold over 70 dogs to the vet school for educational and laboratory use, and the shelter publicly announced that the practice was discontinued and would never happen again.
We see this as an out-and-out betrayal on all sides, and, this is not what the public wants. We see dogs and cats as members of our family, not as experimental tools that should be butchered and killed in laboratories.
PETA believes that it is likely the complaints will make a difference, and they're hopeful that the license will be blocked. And February in Louisiana means crawfish season is in full swing, and it also signals the start of LSU baseball season.
One former baseball player used his passion for the game to start a successful food truck-style crawfish business. Sean Larkin has more.
After winning a baseball national championship with LSU Eunice, Mitch Hopkins signed to play at LSU, but a string of shoulder injuries forced him to give up his dream of playing baseball.
I've had two shoulder surgeries, and I tried to rehab for probably 3 or 4 years after that and never really got back to myself. And I kind of knew I had exhausted every means to try and make it back, and decided that it was over, and started to think about what I could do.
So he turned to another one of his passions, boiling crawfish. Hopkins grew up boiling with his father at their family-owned restaurant, so it seemed like a natural fit.
I knew I enjoyed boiling crawfish. I was good at it, from friends telling me, just different boils that we've done.
The original idea was going to be a catering business, but Hopkins wanted to create a place where people could walk up and buy hot, fresh crawfish with no wait. And in March of 2014, Hopkins purchased a trailer, built a shop, and opened Crawfish on the Go, which sits in the parking lot of the Acadian Perkins Plaza.
After baseball was done, I wanted to put all the effort that I was putting into baseball into something else, and this is, what I did. So
this is the 6th season it's been open, and each year he has seen an increase in business, boiling as much as 2,000 pounds of crawfish each day on the weekends. Eventually, Hopkins said that he wants to explore other ideas outside of crawfish season, but for now, he is perfectly fine taking care of those who crave Louisiana's favorite springtime cuisine.
Crawfish on the Go is open on Monday through Friday starting at 4 p.m. and opens on weekends at noon. Well, the LSU 100 celebrates local businesses on their impact worldwide. This outreach program hopes to keep Louisiana graduates working local.
An idea, determination, and a plan. 3 words that can jumpstart your business.
That walk-on mentality kicked in from day one. It's like, you know what, we're not taking no for an answer.
A walk-on for the LSU basketball team turned Baton Rouge Young Business Person of the Year. Brandon Landry says he and his partner owe a lot to the LSU community.
LSU was the reason why we were successful in the beginning, not just because of what we learned at school, but the students and the staff and the fans that came to all the sporting events.
With so many booming local businesses, why are so many graduates moving off instead of working local?
Well, I think Louisiana businesses have to get a lot more aggressive and give graduating students a path.
Michelle Bouillon of the Orso College of Business hopes the LSU 100 will show students the networking opportunities right here in Baton Rouge.
Scott Taylor, who works for Walk-Alons, and also Brandon comes back and talks to our students about entrepreneurship. Market that, and you keep those students here to build those networks of friends here and networks of business colleagues. And keeping those people here, especially with entrepreneurial mindsets, grows business here.
As of 2018, LSU's in-state population is 83%, with only a 53% retention rate after graduation. With businesses like Walk-Ons becoming nationally recognized, the goal is for graduates to work locally while impacting nationally. For Tiger TV News, I'm Lauren Cochran.
And that was Tiger TV's Lauren Cochran reporting. The LSU 100 Gala will be held in November, but the nominations are being accepted now. And coming up, LSU scored some major victories on and off the court. Luke Cavalier is up next with your sports update.
Don't go anywhere.
At LSU, we're all family, all of us, athletes, we're all a big family, and seeing those guys compete and do good, it just makes us want to compete and do great.
Welcome back to Newsbeat. I'm Luke Chevalier with your LSU sports update. Last night, the LSU basketball team made history as the Tigers defeated the Florida Gators by 1 point in another thrilling overtime. And catcher Brock Mathis has some kind words for the Hoop Tigers. More on baseball in a minute, but for now, let's talk about how LSU basketball is 9-0 on the road in SEC play, undefeated in conference away games for the first time in program history.
Yeah, we played them better certainly this time around than we did the first time around, and so we told our guys going in, this is good prep for the NCAA tournament for as we move forward. I think it's good prep for us, and so these are the type teams we're going to see as we move into the NCAA tournament. And this is the type the type toughness and the type grit that you're going to have to win those sort of games, and I thought we showed that last night. I think they're all excited about competing for a championship, bringing a championship to Louisiana. That's what we wanted to do. That's been our goal from the start, and so I think our guys are excited about the opportunity that we have.
Things aren't all smiles for the Tigers, though, as more reports came out last night after the game in Gainesville about Will Wade's alleged involvement with college basketball middleman Christian Dawkins.
I'll have to read it and look at it, and then from there we'll move forward as we need to. Well, our guys we've handled everything very, very well so far. We talk about the bigger the game or the more noise that's out there, you've got to narrow your focus, and so we've been very good at keeping a narrow focus and narrowing our focus, thus far, and I think this will be no different.
Moving from the hardwood to the box, LSU baseball got back into the swing of things after a rough weekend in Texas. LSU's bats were charged and electric last night against Holy Cross. Here's Daniel Cabrera with a dinger, and it is out of here. That was just one of LSU's 3 home runs, the other 2 from Duplantis and Brock Mathis. The hit parade continues with a dinger from Cade Beloso to drive in 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. That'll extend LSU's lead to 7-2. One low light last night was Mikhail Hilliard, who was taken out of the game after only 1 1/3 inning after giving up a run and walking 2.
Got to be better than that. Can't have walks, especially in early in games like that where it's a really close game. We got to go in there and throw strikes, and that's what I didn't do. Got to be better than that.
Heading from the box to the PMAC, the LSU gymnastics team took on Georgia Bulldogs in their final SEC matchup of the year. The Tigers were carried by stellar perfect 10 performances from Lexi Priestman and Sarah Finnegan. Tiger TV sports reporter Giovanni Lamani has more of the story.
Tigers dominated in the PMAC tonight, posting 2 perfect 10s, one from Sarah Finnegan and one from Lexi Priestman. This perfect 10 is a career first for Priestman, and it came at a good time since she's been sitting out for 3 weeks after injuring herself at Kentucky.
It felt so good to be back out there again. Taking a few weeks off was something that I needed to do for my body, just to kind of step away for a little bit, get back to where I needed to be physically. And tonight I just went out there with the mind of being free, and it just happened. Our bodies know what to do at this point. Everything's on autopilot. So I just went out there, did my job, and had the team right there beside me. And I just can't thank them enough because they've helped me through every trial I've been through.
The two perfect tens contributed to the Tigers' largest score of the season, a 197.9.
I think it was the key was momentum, and the key was the enthusiasm and the excitement that the kids had themselves. They generated the energy, they created the enthusiasm, and I think it was kind of became a fan thing. They got involved, and it's so much fun when the judges reward a great performance, because that's when you can get momentum and really capture it.
The Tigers will face Oregon State next week for senior night. For Tiger TV Sports, I'm Giovanni Lamani.
As Giovanni mentioned, the Tigers play the number 12 ranked Oregon State Beavers tomorrow night in the PMAC for senior night. Well, big things are happening all over LSU sports, as the LSU football team has announced that rising junior Grant Delpit was selected to wear the coveted number 7 jersey for the 2019 season. Delpit will follow in the footsteps of former players like Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, and Leonard Fournette. Along with the announcement, LSU football began its spring practice today, and head coach Ed Ogeron will speak to the media following practice. Visit our website at tigertv.tv later tonight to watch the entire press conference. When we come back, Hunter Lovell brings you the inside scoop on the turmoil in Washington. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Hunting Down the Truth. I'm Hunter Lovell. The House voted overwhelmingly to pass a resolution condemning all forms of hate today, but House Democrats found themselves divided over the language of the measure and on how one member should face consequences. The resolution comes after freshman Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar sparked controversy for anti-Semitic comments. Omar indicated last week that pro-Israel advocates have, quote, an allegiance to a foreign country. She's made similar anti-Semitic remarks in the past, such as suggesting that money spent by pro-Israel lobbying groups aided some politicians' support of Israel. Her comments angered both Republican and Democratic lawmakers, and House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Elliot Engel said her remarks were deeply offensive. Republican leaders have called for Omar to be stripped of her assignment on the Foreign Affairs Committee. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi faces her biggest test of the 116th Congress, keeping her party together as members clash over the right response. Several Jewish Democrats have insisted that Omar apologize and face consequences for her comments, but progressive members have rallied behind Omar in recent days, saying she's been singled out because of her Muslim faith, and that Republicans haven't punished members for racist remarks in the past. Pelosi decided not to condemn Omar in the resolution, saying instead that all should be opposed.
This is an opportunity once again to declare strongest possible opposition to anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim statements, anti-white supremacist attitudes, where the president may think they're good people on both sides. We don't share that view. That is one resolution addressing these forms of hatred, not mentioning her name, because it's not about her. It's about these forms of hatred.
And while the resolution to condemn all forms of hate is voted on in the House, another resolution comes to the Senate floor next week. The Senate will vote on a measure to block President Donald Trump's emergency declaration at the U.S.-Mexico border. So far, 4 Republicans have broken rank from the party in favor of the resolution, which is more than enough to overturn Trump's declaration. The 4 Republicans who plan to vote to pass the resolution are Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Tom Tillis, and Rand Paul. Now, Paul, the latest vowing to vote against the president, says as many as 10 other Republican senators are prepared to block the president's declaration. Trump can still use the presidential veto for the first time in office if the Senate rejects the emergency declaration. Coming up, it's a clickbait invasion as we bring you your entertainment update.
Welcome back to Newsbeat.
Hold on. Did no one show the leaked footage of Trump's wall?
You know, I don't think anyone did. Let's play it.
Colton!
Open the fence, guys. Open the fence.
Colton!
That was definitely one of the craziest moments in Bachelor history. Well, speaking of crazy moments, the Spanish Town Parade marched through town this last weekend. Let's take a look at what went down in Spanish Town.
Downtown Baton Rouge was immersed in a sea of pink on Saturday for the 39th annual Spanish Town Parade. Parade goers of all ages flocked to the downtown area to enjoy Mardi Gras festivities such as music, beads, and cotton candy.
Family, friends together, and we have a good time, we party, and we have a good time. Spanish Town is a good time.
And cotton candy.
Cotton candy.
This year's theme was Drain the Perversion Canal, which pokes fun at dysfunctional politics in Washington, D.C., and the Diversion Canal project that has been delayed for around 30 years. This year's parade was successful in bringing people from all over the country.
This is fantastic. This is the first time ever, all the way from Connecticut, came just for Mardi Gras.
And around the globe.
Seeing people dancing and enjoying in the streets, so this is so much different from my country, and this is crazy, and I like it.
And no matter what, you can always count on Spanish Town for a flockin' good time.
It might be cloudy, but we're not letting it rain on our parade. For Tiger TV, I'm Fallon Brown.
Talk about a flockin' good time.
You're flocking annoying. Anyway, BuzzFeed just released its first ever newspaper. Here's a picture of their paper boy.
Where do I sign up?
Coming up soon, Groovin' on the Grounds has booked your favorite Kevin as a headliner this year. No, the other Kevin. No, Kevin Gates.
That's right, folks. Kevin Gates will be hitting the stage in the PMAC next Thursday. Too bad he can't perform his greatest hit, which was a kick to the face of a fan a few years ago.
Speaking of performances, I never thought it'd be so simple, but you can find a way to see Drake Bell next Thursday.
Drake will be performing at the Varsity, and tickets are on sale now at varsitytheater.com.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have. They're kicking us out now.
But stay with us to find out what New Orleans parade was being petty this year when we hand it back over to Trey and Rachel for all the details.
Welcome back. Well, they say an elephant never forgets, and the same might be true for New Orleans.
That's right. If you're still angry about the Saints' loss to the Rams, well, you're not alone. Multiple parades in New Orleans celebrated the refs from that game. Decorations included blind refs and people adorned with football gear.
And, of course, footballs were thrown from the floats.
Well, that's all the time we have. For more news, check out our social media or check out tigertv.tv. For Tiger TV, I'm Trey Kubion.
And I'm Rachel Hanley. Have a great night, and thanks for joining us, Tigers.